to a special AFTV podcast, as today we preview the upcoming Arsenal and Chelsea game. Joining me to look ahead for tomorrow's London derby are AFT or Arsenal Fan TV presenter Robbie. How you doing, mate?
Good, mate. Good. How you doing?
Not too bad. We've got the popular fan talk regulars Claude and Ty.
All right, Giles, how are you?
Not too bad, Claude. Ty, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, fine, thanks. All right, G. All right,
Yeah.
Rob. Thank you very much for inviting us on. Really appreciate it.
You need to get your own Skype, Ty. You need to get your own Skype.
Okay. Yeah, I will. So I can get away from this man.
Yeah. If nothing else.
Away, mate.
And then finally, we've got Clive from Gunnerstown, who wrote a brilliant piece on how do we go about exploiting Chelsea's weakness. Hello, Clive. How are you, mate?
I'm good, thanks. Glad to be on with podcasting royalty.
Exactly.
Oh,
Me
you're
too.
very kind. You're very kind.
Me too. All right. So, okay, guys. So it's Arsenal versus Chelsea tomorrow. Arsene Wenger versus Jose Mourinho. Hazard versus Sanchez. Ozil versus Cech. Good versus evil. So many subplots. But I suppose the biggest storyline is whether Wenger can finally end the 12-game hoodoo. I want to start with you, Clive. Can we and will we do it?
I think most people feel like this is our chance, don't they? They feel like this is our moment. I think we've gone there in the past thinking we're going to do it. We've gone out, played our game. They've just picked us off. I think this time we've maybe got the squad, we've got the form, and I think we've got the balance of player really to compete with them, not just on the ball, but when we lose it, I think we can recover and stop them breaking on us. So I feel more comfortable going into this game, while knowing we've still got to execute and deliver on the promise that we've shown the last sort of since January, really.
Robbie, I want to come to you. It's you know, how far have we come since Wenger's 1000th game and that nightmare of a 6-0 trouncing that we had last season? I mean, this season we went over there, we drew, we lost by what you might call fine margins. I mean, how do you see tomorrow's game turning out? Do you think that Wenger finally has the formula to put one over on Jose?
Yeah, I do think we can win the game tomorrow. I think there's been two big differences between the last few times we've played Chelsea, and that's number one. We've got a lot of injured players that were, key players that were injured that are back and playing very well. Players like Giroud, players like Ozil, they're players like that earlier on in the season, they're all out injured or they're all just sort of coming back from the World Cup, and were a bit half cooked. They're all playing well. And then I think the other one that's, been absolutely key to us is Francis Coquelin, playing that defensive midfielder role. He's just given us more security. We seem to be taking defending more seriously now, and he's allowing Ozil and he's allowing Cazorla and those sort of players to play, and giving that added insurance in front of the back four that if something does break down, that he can cover it. And I think those are things that we didn't have the last few times when we played Chelsea, and I think it's going to really help us tomorrow.
Claude, let me come to you. Are you confident now? I mean, the way we've been playing, are you confident now that we can put one over on Chelsea, or do you see it petering out to a 0-0 or a ball draw?
I'm very confident of winning the game tomorrow, because I think the pressure will be off. I don't think there'll be any pressure on us tomorrow. The title's gone, so the pressure will be off, and I think it'll be in our favour. It's in a sad way. It's sad that we haven't got another extra 5 points, because then there would have been a totally massive game. But the pressure's off tomorrow, and I think we will beat them. Yeah, okay. I honestly do believe we'll beat them.
Ty, it seems like everyone's in agreement. I'm sure you're going to say the same. It seems like everyone's in agreement. Do you see it possibly petering out into a 0-0 draw? Because Chelsea have all but won the title. Let's call a spade, and Arsenal, I suppose. Do you see us going out to actually really try and win the game? Would you think that if you can't win it, don't lose it?
No. Well, the funny thing is, I've got to echo everything that Rob has said and Clive has said. They spoke very well. And the only person I'm going to disagree with, surprise, is the man next to me, amazingly. Because I don't believe the title has gone. Everybody's saying, like you said, to be fair, G, the title's gone. But I don't think it's gone, because it hasn't been won yet. So we still have a chance. It's going to be very, very difficult. But like I've got to echo what Clive and Rob say. and have said, at this time, we haven't had so many players fit at this time for such a big game. And you made a fantastic point, G. If you go back to the Stamford Bridge game, it was fine margins. Absolutely. It's even more than fine margins. At 0-0, we were holding our own well. Gary Cahill thunders into Alexis, a 240 challenge. He should have been off.
Oh,
Now, if he
you
was
can't
off,
keep going on about
can you not
things
interrupt
like
me, please?
that.
I didn't interrupt you. Thank you. As I was saying before I was rudely interrupted, if he was off, it would have been a different thing. But yeah, very, very confident. We've got the best form guide in the country. And the funny thing is, there is no pressure on us because apparently Chelsea have won the league. So, we don't have to worry. It is going to be very difficult, like Rob is saying. But Francis has been an absolute revelation. Just like Patrick Vieira before him a long time ago. I don't know if I could put them in the same bracket. He's given the players the license to play. And like Rob said, he's the insurance policy. So why not? We have nothing to lose according to everyone. But I still think, yes, we can beat them. I think Chelsea are running very scared tomorrow because they know how well we're playing. They got away with it against Manchester United. But will they get away with it against us? Because Manchester United didn't take their chances.
Yeah.
If we are on our game and we create chances and we score, it's a different subject. So I think why not? It's going to still be difficult, but I think we can win. I think we will win. And I think we can still win the title.
Okay, great stuff. All right, let's move on. Go on. Did somebody want to make a point?
Oh, no, I just said thank you.
Oh, okay.
We've only got an hour, mate.
All right, yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next point.
Yeah, because he was using the rest of it moaning, that's why.
Yeah, all right, okay, so Mourinho more than likely is going to come out and park a fleet of buses in front of us. How do we go about making sure that whilst we're attacking them, we don't get exposed? I mean, you saw what happened with Man United last week. 29% possession to Chelsea. They don't mind giving us the ball and then, picking us off with the likes of Hazard. I'm going to start with you, Ty. How do we go about ensuring that we don't come a cropper tomorrow, tactically?
Well, it's a good question, G. And I think we know, like you said, it's not rocket science. We know exactly what Chelsea are going to come and do. And the key thing for us is that we have to show patience and not allow ourselves to be frustrated, because that's what Chelsea are going to come and do. It doesn't matter if we score in the last minute, if it's 0-0, or in the first minute. We must be patient and not allow ourselves to be frustrated or let Chelsea bring us to their level. Because looking at the Reading game, for our first goal, which was brilliantly dispatched by Alexis, Mesut put the ball over to him. And now that man, just like Cesc, unfortunately, used to, can pass a ball through either needle. And that's what you're going to need to do to get behind Chelsea. So I think the key thing is patience. That's the key word of the day for me. Patience, and when we get our chances, there's no messing about.
Robbie.
That's, I think,
okay.
Patience.
Okay, Robbie?
I'll say I've got to agree 100% with Ty. I really agree with that. Patience is going to be very important. That has been Chelsea's tactic since Christmas. They've just been playing teams and they haven't really been going for it. You saw last week, they were playing at home, remember, against Manchester United, and they gave up all that possession. And basically they're just like, well, you know what, we'll take a draw, but if you give us a little chance, we'll take it. And they have got the quality players to take those chances. That's exactly what they did to us at home, basically, when we played them earlier in the year. Just a couple of lapses of concentration by us and they scored. And that's how good they are, because they have got top quality players, but we must, I agree with Ty, must be patient. And I also think we need to, use width in that game. I'd like to see Welbeck start on one wing in that game, and I'd like to see Alexis on the other wing and get that ball and start running at that defence. Particularly players like Ivanovic, they're not the quickest in the world. They'll give away fouls. We can get into certain areas, and I really think if we really attack that back four, they're not the quickest, that back four. Really attack it. I get the feeling they're going to probably throw Zuma in there as well, because they'll be worried about the pace. But attack that back four, really put that back four under some pressure, and I reckon we can get some joy. United nearly had the joy last week. They were just, as Ty said, they didn't take their chances. So I'm pretty confident that, playing at home, if we do that, we can definitely get a result.
Claude, I mean, do you agree with what Ty and Robbie have said so far?
Well, I'll try and keep it down to 2 minutes rather than half an hour.
Yeah.
But anyway, at the moment, I think if we keep the right balance between attack and defending, I think we'll be okay. I think that's all we got to do. I think the most important thing is that if we can get a goal in front, and then that means they have to come out, and then we've got to play the game that they play against us. We can't go gung-ho, though. That's the only thing. Even if we go 1-0 up, we mustn't have that mistake of trying to get that rush to get that second goal on third goal, if you see where I'm coming from.
Yeah, cool. All right, Clive, I mean, you this morning you wrote a very interesting piece about, exploiting Chelsea's weaknesses. You've heard the guys talk about, Ty spoke about patience, Claude spoke about balance, getting the balance right. Robbie spoke about using our width and pace to attack their defence. Can you expand upon the blog you wrote this morning?
Yeah, sort of, when I watch Chelsea, we always look at how they play, and none of us really like it, really, because we're Arsenal fans and our DNA are completely different. But I look at teams and how the teams that have beaten them and how they did it. And a classic example was Atletico Madrid in the last year's Champions League semi-final. And they really focused on their two main strengths and turned them into weaknesses. They focused on John Terry, and they had Costa really challenging him, challenging his game, challenging really visibly so everyone could see it was man on man. And I think that affected Chelsea. I think John Terry and Cahill, the goalkeeper, and that is their heart of their team. And once you start to unsettle that heart, they absolutely fold. So that was in the first game. Atletico were very robust, very physical, and also very mentally strong. In the second game, they played it beautifully. They came out again just as strong mentally. Obviously, the away goals at home would make it really an issue for Chelsea, to make them nervous if Atletico scored. Chelsea scored first, and Atletico just kept on coming. And what they did was they played diagonals. Because when Chelsea score, they drop deep. They drop deep because they've got no pace. So you have to get diagonals in behind their fullbacks, just like the Sanchez goal at Wembley last week. Mm-hmm. And what that does, that turns Terry and Cahill around. And when the ball's behind them, they are not so strong. When the ball's in front of them, they're on the front foot. They're very aggressive. They're a very good front-running team. When Chelsea score first, that's what they want. We can now set up, we can create our platform, and we can spring. And players like William and Hazard spring up the pitch, one touch, in behind us, and they execute. So I think the key... Sorry,
Clive?
Yes, mate.
Sorry, great points you made. But have we got that physical presence to do what you're actually saying we can do, to do, if you see what I'm coming from?
Yeah, I do see what you're coming from. I don't think it's about physicality. It's about... Because we're going to control the ball, right? Even in the game we lost 2-0 at their place this year, we still had 55% of the ball. So we're going to have more of the ball at home. So really for me, it's what Rob said. It's about having the players wide, having those proactive runners wide, and being brave enough to play someone like Welbeck wide rather than Ramsey wide, because we're going to get direct running. We're going to get players who got that centre-forward DNA running into the danger areas. If you're Azpilicueta and you're looking at Aaron Ramsey or Danny Welbeck, who do you want to play against? Right, so Danny Welbeck, 6'1", runs like the wind. Yeah, he's got issues in the box about composure, but it's about creating a threat. And off the ball, Danny Welbeck is far better than, say, a Podolski was. And they're the players we were playing there in the 6-0 game. Players like Podolski, off the ball, offer us zero. So we've got a greater balance to us this year. And because we are going to play players like Cazorla in centre mid, then physicality out wide is really important. And having those taller, stronger players like Welbeck, Giroud, Gabriel will probably play, Koscielny. We've got a bit of size there to defend their set piece. So I think we should have a lot of confidence about the players that we have. And that's why I'm so hopeful, because we don't carry passengers any longer. We've got proper players that play, that work hard. The work ethic in this group compared to last year, the Thousands game, is just massively different.
Does anybody want to make a point, respond to Clive's points?
Go Great point.
Sorry, I agree with what Clive just said there, but I'm just wondering whether the manager will go along with Welbeck. Hopefully he will do that, but I'm not sure whether he'll do that. But I do.
Yeah, I'm with you, Claude. I don't think he will. I think what Wenger does in big games, he does something he always goes for what I call control. So he basically plays the extra midfielder. So he used to do it last year. He just bring Cazorla in left. And it looks like he's probably going to bring in Santi right. He's going to control the ball.
I get the feeling though that he will play Welbeck. I really do. I mean,
you're right, Rob.
I know I know Arsene Wenger. He loves playing Aaron Ramsey, and I did my team last night and tweeted it out, and that it's exactly the team I had. I had with Welbeck on the left, Sanchez on the right, and as I said just before you said that, Clive, and I agree with you 100%. Welbeck will be a very, very important player because his work rate, his tracking back, his speed and trickery going forwards. I think that would really, really trouble Chelsea. And you're right, Clive. If they get turned, they're not the same team. You look at Chelsea, the minute they get turned, players like Ivanovic and that are pulling people back, fouling, because they're panicking. So that's what we need to, I agree with you 100%. Let's take it to them down the flanks. I mean, you know that a player like Alexis as well will give them loads of problems down those flanks. And I really think if we do that, we can get a lot of joy against Chelsea. We really can.
Also, by the way, we haven't got nothing to lose, have we? By doing something different.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, you know what? The thing is, you're saying a lot of that, Claude. I don't 100% agree with you that nothing to lose, no pressure. It's a big game for Arsenal, even though it's not a game that we can, win the title or whatever, but it's a big game for us as a club. We haven't beaten Chelsea for so long. It's just very similar to when we played Manchester City. It's a very, very important game, and I don't agree with you. The pressure's on. We need to win that game, Claude. And I think just saying, the pressure's off, no. If we go out there and we get hammered tomorrow, or we go out there and we even lose tomorry, it's going to be real bad press on Arsenal, and a lot of people.
Is it more a case of playing without that? Usually when we come up against Mourinho teams, we're playing with that. That pressure seems to weigh down on us. I mean, do you think that tomorrow we can go out and play with a bit of freedom? Trust that 9 games, 9 wins, 9 games, 8 in the league. That should give us that kind of freedom, that confidence to go out. I think that's what Claude's maybe trying to say.
Absolutely. The big difference is this time is that we've got better, like Clive just said, we've got better players out there on the field now. Like you said, Podolski, for instance, when he was playing in the previous game, we all know that Podolski's work rate is very poor. Great player if you can get him in front of the goal and he can have a shot. But apart from that, a passenger, you can't have passengers in a game like that. And I just feel that it's not just that the pressure's off. I feel there's an optimism in Arsenal. We've been winning games, game after game. We've been playing well. Players, as I said, that, were out for quite a while early in the season are back and are playing well as well. So I don't just go along with this, the pressure's off like it's an easy, it doesn't matter what happens. It's a big game it's a bigger game for us than them. If anything, the pressure's off them. Because even if they lose, they're still probably going to go on and win the title. It's more important for us. That pressure is all on us for tomorrow.
I think it is. Can
I bring Ty in? Because I know you wanted to say something. Go on, Ty.
Thank you, G. So you said you're not going to take a long time. I didn't know if I was even going to talk again. Thank you very much. Anyway, absolutely. I echo what Clive and Rob are saying. It is a game. We have to imagine we would get bad press. We would get bad press because Chelsea just want to come for a point. I think Clive makes a fantastic point about the way Atletico were, and these two, they were very, very physical. But also another thing, which I'm sure will rankle with Chelsea, is the fact that at 1-0, or was it 1-1, Courtois made about 2 magnificent saves for Atletico. Now, Chelsea scored. You don't know what happened, but I think Clive has made absolutely fantastic, intelligent points. Clive, you're talking on a different level, and it's awesome what he's saying about how to tackle Chelsea. And I think those are the tactics to be looked at, because I think the way Atletico played was magnificent. Off the ball, they were magnificent. They weren't afraid to take the ball to chase. They were so confident in their approach. And like Rob is saying, why shouldn't we be confident? I saw a stat on Sky Sports News, if I can mention them, this morning, that apparently from January, if the league was now, we'd be top of the table by 2 points. Can you imagine? That is how good our form is. And like Robbie said, why should we be frightened? Why should we be frightened? Why should we be frightened? Why should it be the same old thing? They keep on talking about the stat about Arsenal hasn't been Mourinho. That's got no. I don't listen to that.
If my aunt had different equipment, she'd be my uncle.
Here we go.
Anyway.
Here we go.
All right. So we've spoken about how we can exploit them. How do we stop them from exploiting us? Let me ask you first before we go on further. I'm going to ask each of you a question. Just give me one answer or the other.
Yeah.
Debussy or Bellerin? I'll start with you, Ty. Debussy or Bellerin?
Hector.
Claude?
You know what? I'm going to actually agree with him for a change. Bellerin, definitely, mate, at the moment. Yeah.
Robbie?
He shouldn't have been out set last week.
He said one question. He said one answer.
Yeah. Robbie?
I'm going with Bellerin purely really on the fact that it was the first game for Debussy last week.
Cool. All right.
Otherwise, I would have went Debussy for the experience.
Okay, cool. And Clive?
To be different, I'm going Debussy.
And why is that?
I'm going Debussy because Bellerin hit a wall last week and he actually had an ankle injury. That's why he missed the game. And I'm going Debussy because he would have had that rusty games got out of the way. And we're talking about the best player in the league if he's playing the games. And I don't want to put a 19-year-old kid up against the best player in the league.
I'm going to ask you three guys. I mean, Clive has said it's Debussy for him. What makes you think that Bellerin would be a better personnel to have up against possibly the best player in the league in Hazard for tomorrow's game? We'll start with you, Claude.
I don't think Debussy's right at the moment. Anyway, he was completely slaughtered for that goal last week. Absolutely slaughtered. He's not right yet. I don't think he's right in the right. He's been on a long layoff, and I can't believe after a long layoff. But now I hear that the other guy. I was told it was a mental problem. He was mentally.
I think that's what we all assumed, and then Wenger came out the other day and said he had an ankle problem.
But, I mean, to bring back someone for a semi-final, straight for a semi-final after a long layoff, seems a bit silly for me. But anyway, that's my opinion. Right,
Ty, why do you think Hector, if he's fit, why would you go with Hector and not Debussy?
Well, the thing is, if what Clive is saying is true, which I don't doubt it isn't, then that's very interesting. I just think Clive is right. Matt is one of the best players, but I just think at the moment he's maybe not fit enough. Because if he was fit, as well as Hector's played, it is Hazard, and we can't underestimate that threat.
Robbie, everyone's saying Hector's too young, he's too raw. He'll get exposed like he has been against. I don't know. Obviously against Man United, he was very lucky not to get sent off. But with every game he's playing, he gets more experience. He seems to be a quick learner. It's also about who he's got playing in front of him, hasn't he? Isn't it? Yeah. I mean,
listen, to me, he's done brilliant. Yes, of course, he's been a bit raw. He's a young player, but he's been excellent. And I just feel that, he's got that pace that can get him, pace of recovery. And I'd start with him. And then you've also got the insurance policy of Debussy that if he does get a yellow card, like what he did against Manchester United, you can take him off and you've got a great player to replace him. So I'd go with Bellerin just because that has been the team that has been doing so well. Why change it? Let's stick to that team as a unit. That 11 has been doing so well. I don't want to change it. I want to keep it as it is for that game.
Clive, I want to come back to you just finally before we move on to another point. Do you feel that with the game that Debussy had last week that he'd be fitter, better for it, and now ready to go up against Hazard? Because Hazard is one hell of a player, let's admit it.
Yeah, I thought Debussy, I criticised him on one of the pods this week. I thought he had a rusty game. But then he lasted 120 minutes his first game for 3 months. That's fantastic, right? Yeah. And okay, he was a little bit subdued going forward, but not surprisingly, and I thought he did his job well. Why I say Debussy, it's all about balance. if Mertesacker was playing, I may think Bellerin actually, but I don't think Mertesacker's going to play. So what you have a player that's happy on the front foot. So Debussy presses very hard and stays very tight because his pace isn't super top, so he has to be aggressive. That's exactly how you play Hazard. Once he turns around and runs at you, you're in trouble. Look at the goal, the penalty at Stamford Bridge. Once he got the turn, it was ping, 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 in our box, tackle, should have been a sending off, could have been worse than that, right? So you've got to press him, right? And if he goes in behind, there's no Mertesacker there, there's Gabriel there. That means Debussy can get super tight on him, knowing if he gets spun, Gabriel's a brilliant one-on-one defender. So for me, it's definitely Debussy. You need the personality to travel with him all the way into the heart of midfield. I don't think a 19-year-old kid is going to have that personality to travel with him and go with him into areas that he's not comfortable with. I love Bellerin. I love him at home, particularly. I love his recovery pace. I love his attacking verve. But this is big boy football, right? And I don't see any reason why we should be flying a 19-year-old kid out there when we got the French international right back fit and ready to play.
Good points for everyone. Good points. I want to ask, go on, somebody want to make a point, go on?
Oh no, just say thank you, G.
Alright, no problem. How important will Coquelin's role be in tomorrow's game? Because we saw when we went up to Man City how important it was, not even just to have somebody on Silva, but to actually cut off the supply line to Silva. So we're talking about, you know, going up against possibly Matic or, I don't know if it's Matic or Ramirez, but definitely Cesc Fabregas. How do we get, that's the time up. How do we cut off the supply line to your Williams and more importantly, Oscars and Hazards? Clive, let me come to you first.
Okay, cut off the supply line. I think, again, we're a different team now. So when it comes to work ethic, our work ethic can match theirs. So William is a worker. So Sanchez can work harder than him. So that's not a problem on the left side. Monreal is not absent. He stays in his hole. He's a very, very strong ball player on and off the ball. Not worried about him. And what we have in the middle there with Cazorla and Ozil, if we have ball retention, they keep the ball, they keep it moving. And I think nothing moves quicker than the ball. And what my concern is sometimes when Ramsey plays, we slow the ball down. And once you stop, you become a target for the tackle. I think keeping the ball moving and work rate, this is again why Welbeck's selection for me is really important. Because you have work rate either side and you have control and technical ability central. And what we haven't spoken about is Giroud. And Giroud could play the role of what Costa did against John Terry in the semi last year. He can physically battle with those two. So I think I'm not worried about our players, because I know we're debating Bellerin or Debussy, but let's be honest, there's nothing between them, right? And we'd have either of them, wouldn't we? And that's the beauty of this squad this year. That hasn't been the case in previous years.